Look, we are stepping into a transformative era. Everything around us is evolving. The way we interact, the way we work, communicate, and even build solutions that change the world. Today, I'm here to tell you that this revolution isn't just for the Silicon Valley elite. It's for every aspiring mind out there who wants to seize this opportunity and build a career or even a tech startup. If you're watching this, you're probably already curious about how to break into web development and why it's one of the best career moves you can make right now. Over the next couple of minutes, and trust me, you'll want to stick around with me to the end, I'm going to share an in-depth blueprint on how you as a beginner can get into tech, why this field is booming, and how you can leverage this step-by-step system that guarantees you progress even if you've never written a single line of code before. Now, I want to be completely transparent here. While I cannot promise that every single one of you watching this will see instant success, I can guarantee you that the strategies and insights I'm about to share have been tried and tested by countless beginners who have now gone to launch their own successful apps, start their careers, and even start to build their own startups and land a freelance gig. So buckle up and get ready. We are about to dive deep into why tech is the career of the future and how you can be one of the successful contributors in this digital revolution. So why should you even get into tech? Let's face it, we are living in a world that's being reshaped by technology every single day. Here are the 3 fundamental reasons why you as a beginner should seriously consider diving into tech, and in particular, web development. Firstly, it has an unprecedented demand. The demand for tech talent is exploding. From startups to multinational corporations, every single business needs developers to build and maintain their online presence. This is not just a trend, it's a long-term shift in the way we do business. As companies move online and adopt digital-first strategies, the need for skilled developers has skyrocketed. We cannot talk about tech without talking about the lucrative career opportunities. Tech roles consistently offer some of the best salaries in the world, whether you're looking at opportunities in the US, in Europe, or embracing the tech hubs in Africa. The compensation packages are very, very attractive. And if you choose to specialize in full-stack development, a skill that covers both front-end and back-end technologies, the earning potential only increases. Another reason why you should get into tech is how flexible this career choice is, and also your freedom to become an entrepreneur. When you learn web development, you're not just learning how to code. You're gaining the tools to build your own digital solutions. Whether you dream of starting your own startup, working as a freelancer, or landing a high-paying job at a tech startup or a tech giant, the possibility is basically endless. If you're an entrepreneur watching this, you know that this is invaluable for you. We are in the midst of a technology renaissance. Think about it. Smartphones, cloud computing, Internet of Things, blockchain, and AI are reshaping industries as diverse as finance, healthcare, and even entertainment. But what does this mean for you as an aspiring developer? Every day, millions of people access the internet for information, entertainment, and shopping. As businesses scramble to adapt, the web has become the primary channel for communication, marketing, and sales. These digital explosions means that there are more opportunities than ever to build a career in tech. Companies need innovative websites, mobile apps, and digital tools to stay competitive. Keeping all this in mind, let's see what is in for you as a developer. Let's consider the salaries in various regions. In the United States, the US average salary for a web developer can range from $70,000 to over $120,000 per year, depending on your specialization, experience, and the region where you work from. Full-stack developers in particular often command higher salaries than their counterparts, which often exceeds $130,000 a year. Even across Africa, especially in tech hubs like Accra, Lagos, or Nairobi, the landscape is rapidly changing. With the rise of startups and big companies who want to grow their existing product line, the demand for developers are only increasing, and while the salaries in Africa are not as high as in the US, the opportunities are getting bigger every day. And one big advantage for you as a developer is that you can work remotely from Africa and earn in the US and command those salaries that people are getting living in the US. So earning in US dollars, getting US salaries, and living anywhere else in the world is basically setting you up for your entire life. These figures are a testament to how technology is not just a passing fad, it's a booming industry with enormous potential. So you are absolutely in the right place. So now let's talk about AI. A question we often hear is that, will AI replace developers? The answer is a resounding no. And here is why. Let's first of all start with human creativity and problem solving. While AI can automate repetitive tasks, it cannot really replicate the ability to solve complex problems, think creatively, and understand nuanced business needs. Developers bring context and creativity to the table, qualities that AI as of today cannot even match. And we are addressing this because a lot of aspiring developers right now are seeing AI as a barrier. You shouldn't see it as a barrier, you should see it as a stepping stone. It is a tool that is going to help you code even faster and more efficiently. Another reason why AI is not going to replace your job is that AI itself is built and maintained by developers. As AI continues to evolve, it will create new opportunities for developers to innovate, design, and enhance these systems. The need for skilled human oversight and iterative improvement is more critical than ever. Now that we have AI out of the way and you know that AI is not out here to replace your job, now you may be wondering, you as an aspiring developer has zero experience. How can the Programmers University help you in order to achieve your goals, switch to this career that is a tech career, and ultimately improve your lifestyle and build the applications or the software you have in mind? So one of the core philosophies at the Programmers University is the importance of learning from first principles. This means that understanding not just how to code, but why things work the way they do. When you learn by building from the ground up, you develop a mindset that no machine can replicate. It's the deep understanding that sets human developers and ensures they remain indispensable even in an AI-driven world. Before we dive deep into the curriculum at the Programmers University, let's take a moment to educate you further and explore the various paths you can take in tech. If you don't know yet, web development is a very broad field, and here are some of the most popular types of developers. Firstly, we have front-end developers. These are basically the artists and architects of the user experience. They use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to build interactive and responsive user interfaces that people see and interact with every day. Think of what you see when you go on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, or any of those platforms. What you see right there is basically the front end. The next type of web developer is the back-end developers. These are basically the people working behind the scenes. They manage servers, database, and application logic, ensuring that websites and apps function smoothly and securely. And then finally, we have full stack developers. These professionals have the best of both worlds. They can work on both the front end and the back end. And full stack developers are in extreme high demand because they bring flexibility, efficiency, and a holistic understanding of web development to the table. They are basically the Swiss Army knives of tech, capable of building entire applications from scratch. And this is exactly the type of developers we train at the Programmers University. Then we also have mobile application developers. So basically, it's people who specialize in creating applications for smartphones and tablets. These developers use technologies like Swift, Kotlin, or React Native to create apps that run seamlessly on mobile devices. So just think about the apps that are installed on your mobile phone. This is built by a mobile app developer. And then finally, we have DevOps engineers. They ensure that the infrastructure behind websites and applications is reliable, scalable, and efficient. They bridge the gap between development and operations, using tools to automate and monitor systems. So, in today's competitive job market, full stack developers stand out the most. But why? Because companies need professionals who can understand and manage the entire life cycle of a web application from concept to deployment. A full stack developer can troubleshoot issues quickly, streamline workflows, and often reduce costs by handling tasks that would otherwise take multiple specialists. So just think about it. It's a win-win for the company and employee because the company spends less by hiring less developers and the employee earns way more than if they were to specialize either on front end or back end. So now let's get to the heart of the matter. At the Programmers University, we believe that the secret to mastering web development lies in a unique 4-step learning system. This system isn't about memorizing code, it's about understanding concepts, applying them in real-world scenarios, and building projects that solidify your knowledge. So let's break down how this 4-step system works. Step 1, we introduce the topic and teach the concept. Every great journey begins with understanding the basics. We start by introducing a topic in a way that's easy to digest. Then we break down complex subjects into their fundamental principles, explaining not just how, but why behind each single concept. For example, when we dive into HTML, we don't just show you how to write tags, we explain the structure of a web page, why semantic HTML is important, and how your content is interpreted by browsers and search engines. This foundational knowledge sets the stage for everything that follows. Then we move on to the second step, which is doing targeted exercises. You have to know that practice is key. Once you've grasped the concept, it's time to put your knowledge into action with targeted exercises. And at the Programmers University, we have carefully crafted exercises, an online code editor for you to code and for your exercises to be reviewed by professional instructors. These exercises are carefully designed to reinforce what you've learned. You'll start with simple tasks like creating a basic web page and gradually move to more complex challenges that push your limits to the very extreme. Each exercise is interactive, giving you immediate feedback and insights into common pitfalls and best practices. This hands-on approach ensures that you are not just passively absorbing information, but actively applying it. Now moving over to the third step, which is working on real-world projects. Theory is very important, but real growth happens when you apply what you've learned to a real-world project. In this phase, you'll take on projects that simulate actual web development scenarios, whether it's building a personal portfolio website or developing a small e-commerce site. These projects are designed to mirror the challenges you'll face in the field, so that once you complete this training, the experience you gain from this training is similar to the experience you gain from an actual real-world scenario working for a real company or a real client. You learn how to manage a project from start to finish, planning, designing, coding, testing, and finally deploying your application. These projects are your proof of concept, demonstrating to future employers or clients that you can deliver tangible results. So you're not just going to have a resume saying that you can do what you claim you can, you're also going to have projects that showcase all your abilities. And then the final and the fourth step is practice, practice, and practice. Mastery comes with repetition. The final step is all about continuous practice. Thanks to our community, our platform, and our instructors, we have a guided approach to ensure that you practice regularly and you get regular feedback. The tech world is constantly evolving, and the best developers are those who keep their skills sharp through regular practice. You'll be encouraged to revisit past projects, refine your code, and experiment with new technologies. This phase also involves peer reviews and community engagement. So basically sharing your projects, getting feedback, and learning from your peers. It's a cycle of constant improvement that ensures your skills remain relevant in an ever-changing landscape. So at the Programmers University, we break down your learning journey into clear, manageable phases. This ensures that you build a solid foundation and gradually advance to more complex topics as time goes on. Our curriculum is divided into three main pillars: front-end, back-end, and job readiness, which includes startup building and freelancing. Each of these pillars are further divided into two phases, and we will cover them in the next minute. Starting with the front-end phase. So in the front-end phases, we are going to start with phase 1, which is the fundamentals of front-end development. Here, you're going to be introduced to HTML and CSS. You learn the building blocks of the web. HTML forms the structure of every web page, while CSS is responsible for the visual presentation. We'll also cover the basics, from creating simple web pages to understanding responsive design. Then after HTML and CSS, we are going to get into the basics of JavaScript. JavaScript is the language that makes web pages interactive. You'll start with variables, functions, loops, and events. By the end of this phase, you'll be comfortable writing simple scripts and manipulating the DOM, which stands for Document Object Model. It's a very popular concept in JavaScript, and you're going to learn this more in depth. Then we are going to move over to practical exercises. So applying what you've learned by building small projects, such as a personal landing page, a dynamic photo gallery. These projects will help you solidify your understanding and prepare you for more advanced topics. Then we are going to move over to phase 2, which is advanced front-end technologies, starting with modern framework and libraries. So once you've mastered the fundamentals, it's time to level up. We'll dive into popular frameworks like React, Vue, or Angular. explaining how they simplify complex UI development. Next, we are going to go into responsive design and UX principles. Learn how to create websites that look great on any device. This includes media queries, grid systems, and best practices in user experience design. We'll also have a brief lesson that will teach you how to design and implement Figma designs. Then we are going to get into state management and API integration. So as your application grows, you'll need to manage state and connect with backend services. We'll explore tools like Redux and how to consume RESTful APIs. And then you'll finally have a capstone project, which is a more complex dynamic web application that incorporates everything you've learned from component design to API integration. This project becomes a key piece in your portfolio. So basically with this project, you're going to have a far greater chance of landing a job opportunity or a client thanks to this project. Then the next major phase is going to be the backend phase. In the backend phases, we are going to get into phase 3, which is server-side fundamentals. So you're going to start by understanding the server, getting introduced to the world of servers and databases, learning how web servers work, the basics of HTTP or HTTPS protocol, and the role of server-side scripting. Then you're going to be introduced to programming languages and frameworks. We will start with languages like Node.js, and then you learn how to handle routing, manage sessions, and work with server-side logic. After this, we are going to move to database basics. Every dynamic website needs data. Learn about relational databases like MySQL or PostgreSQL, and NoSQL alternatives like MongoDB, and understand data modeling, CRUD operations, and query optimization. Once you're done with this, we are going to have hands-on exercises where you're going to create simple APIs, manage user authentication, and connect your backend to a front-end application. Exercises are designed to build confidence in managing server-side operations. After we are done with the third phase, we'll move to the fourth phase, which is advanced backend development. So you're going to learn about RESTful APIs and microservices. Learn how to design and implement scalable RESTful APIs. You explore the architecture of microservices and how they allow for modular and efficient development. Then you learn about security, testing, and optimization. As the word suggests, security is critical. You'll understand how to protect your applications from common vulnerabilities like SQL injections, cross-site scripting, and more. You'll also cover unit testing and integration testing and performance optimization. These are all things that employers are looking for in a skilled developer. And then finally, we are going to learn DevOps and deployment. A project isn't really complete until it's deployed. You learn about continuous integration and deployment pipelines, and also cloud platforms like AWS, Google Cloud, or Azure. And then finally, we will have a real-world project. So basically, putting your advanced skills to the test by developing a full-featured web application with a secure backend, complete with user authentication, data management, and API integration. This project will basically be your standout piece in your professional portfolio. So after the building phase, we'll move to the job readiness phases. So basically turning your skills into opportunities. This will take us over to phase 5, which involves building your portfolio and your brand as a professional developer. You do this by starting to showcase your work. So all the programs and applications you build throughout the training, you basically use it to insert it in your impressive online portfolio that is going to showcase all these projects, your skills, and your creativity. This portfolio is basically your digital resume and is a key asset when applying for jobs or freelance gigs. Then we are going to get into personal branding. So how to establish your online presence through a personal website, LinkedIn profile, and active participation in tech communities. You will learn the importance of networking and sharing your knowledge through blogs or open source contributions. Then this phase also includes project reviews and feedback. So you engage with your peers and mentors to refine your project, get constructive feedback. Getting constructive feedback is invaluable in helping you polish your work and prepare for real-world challenges. And then the final phase, which is going to be the sixth phase, is mastering the interview and freelance game, starting with interview preparation. We are going to help you gain insight into common technical interview questions, coding challenges, and whiteboard sessions. You will learn strategies from problem solving on the spot and articulating your thought process. Then we are going to move over to freelance and client acquisition, because not everybody is learning how to code to land a job. And the digital economy is ripe with opportunities for freelance developers. Learn how to market your skills, bid for projects on platforms like Upwork or Freelancer, and build lasting relationships with clients. We also learn negotiation and pricing. Understand how to value your work. We also discuss industry standards for tech salaries and freelance rates, ensuring that you know your worth, whether you're starting your career or launching your own startup. Now, let's talk about the entrepreneurial aspect of web development. With your newfound skills, you're not just capable of joining an established company, you can also build your own startup or become a thriving freelance creator. And here's how to go about building your own startup with your newly found tech skills. Firstly, we start with the idea generation and validation. Every startup begins with an idea. We'll learn how to identify gaps in the market and validate your ideas through user feedback, market research, and lean startup methodologies. Next step is rapid prototyping. You use your web development skills to quickly build prototypes, and this is where our build the app system comes into play. Many beginners miss this critical step. Skipping proper prototyping can lead to wasted time and resources. And then next, you have to do iterative development through user feedback. For this, you need to develop your product in iterative phases. So launch an MVP or minimum viable product, gather feedback, and continuously improve. Real-world examples include startups like Airbnb and Uber, which began as simple solutions to everyday problems and scaled rapidly through continuous iteration. Once you've nailed down the MVP, learn how to scale your product. Understand the technical and business challenges involved, from server scalability to marketing and customer support. Now, let's move over to breaking into the freelance world. First, starting with landing your first client. The freelance world can be very daunting, but with the right strategy, you can start landing clients quickly. Start by building a strong portfolio and leveraging personal networks and online platforms. The strong portfolio part is gotten once you go through the training program and do everything that is required by you to build your applications. Next, you need to learn the best practices for managing client expectations, negotiating contracts, and delivering high quality work on time. If you're going the freelance route and you've already landed clients, one thing you should understand is that satisfied clients lead to referrals and repeat business. Make sure to develop a system for follow-up, gathering testimonials, and even upselling additional services. And most especially, make sure to render a very good service to your clients. Now that we've taken a look at how you can get into the freelance world and effectively land and retain clients, now let's look at the ultimate building app systems that most beginners miss. The systematic approach to building applications that not only work but also scale. So let's break down this ultimate system. So the first part of this system is conceptualization and planning. This step involves brainstorming ideas, defining the scope of your application, and planning the user experience. It's crucial to map out your project before even writing a single line of code. Then the next stage here is design and architecture. Here, you focus on creating wireframes, prototypes, and system architectures. You decide on the technology stack, design patterns, and how different components will interact. This phase ensures that your app has a robust structure and is scalable. Then the third stage is deployment and integration. This is where the magic happens. You start coding your application front and back, then you integrate APIs, manage databases, and build the user interface. Continuous testing and an iterative development is critical in this phase. Then the final phase is deployment and iteration. So once you've built your app, you have to now deploy it to a live environment. But deployment isn't the end, it's just the beginning of a cycle of continuous improvement. You gather user feedback, fix bugs, and roll out updates. This iterative process ensures that your app evolves to meet user needs. Let's now take a look at how our system sets you up for success. At the Programmers University, we embed this ultimate app building system into our curriculum. We provide a step-by-step guidance, templates, and real-world case studies that show you exactly how to move from idea to deployment. You learn not only to code, but to build applications that solve real problems and can stand up to the demands of the market. Now that we've seen the overall journey, from learning fundamentals to building advanced projects and preparing you for the job market, it's time to talk about what makes our program unique. At the Programmers University, we don't just hand you a bunch of lectures and hope for the best. We provide an integrated learning experience that includes live coding sessions, interactive exercises and projects, community and peer support, and finally, mentorship and live Q&A. So regular mentorship sessions and live Q&A sessions ensure that you get personalized advice and feedback, and our mentors are experienced professionals who have been where you are and know how to help you to overcome any hurdles that you may face. As a final step in our process, you'll take a comprehensive quiz that tests your knowledge and skills. If you pass with flying colors, you'll earn an exclusive discount on your next course enrollment, a way of rewarding you for your hard work and dedication. Now, before we wrap up this deep dive into web development, there's one final critical step that sets this program apart: the quiz. If you've reached this part of this lesson, you already have the curiosity and drive to learn web development. That's the first ingredient for success. The second ingredient is proven roadmap, and that's exactly what the Programmers University aims to provide. Don't be that person who sits around watching from the sidelines, watching other developers learn these skills and land dream jobs or build successful freelance businesses thinking that I wished I could be that person. Let me tell you that you can be that person. Technology is the greatest equalizer. It doesn't matter where you come from, your age, your gender, your background. If you can demonstrate your skills by building solutions that work, you are in. That's basically it. No gatekeepers. You don't have to wait for a license or a specialized exam, except if you're going to a very specific niche. All you need is the skill, the portfolio, and the ability to communicate your value. In order to secure an exclusive discount to enroll to the full program, you'll have a quiz at the end of this lesson that you can take, and if you succeed in the quiz, you secure a discount. Once you are in, you wait for the cohort to start, and you can start taking lessons and attending classes with your experienced professors. Thank you for coming this far, and remember, this is just the beginning of the journey. If you have any questions, make sure to message or email us. See you inside the program.